Hello, John Birch for Love Shift, and today I'd like to make a video about normalcy bias. Normalcy bias is a mental state which people enter into when faced with a potential disaster. It causes people to underestimate both the possibility of the disaster and the potential extent of its effects. The assumption made in the case of normalcy bias is that since a disaster never has occurred, it never will occur. People with normalcy bias tend to interpret warnings in the most optimistic way possible, seizing on any ambiguities to infer a less serious situation than the one that actually is. When the bias is held collectively, the distorted thinking gains inertia, which makes it even more difficult to eradicate. The nuclear threat is a classic example of normalcy bias. As generation upon generation grows up with the threat of nuclear annihilation, society becomes normalized to the danger and unable to respond appropriately. Humans on Earth are now seriously normalized to the possibility of a nuclear war. Helen Caldicott once called this heavy psychic numbing. Instead of being comfortable with the way things are, we should be terrified. We are complacent, even to the point of talking about preparing for winning and surviving such a war. What causes normalcy bias? Normalcy bias may be caused in part by the way the brain processes new data. Research suggests that even when the brain is calm, it takes 8 to 10 seconds to process new information. Stress slows the process, and when the brain cannot find an acceptable response to a situation, it fixates on a single default solution which may not be the best. How can we become unnormalized to a serious threat, such as the possibility of a nuclear war? This is one of the most important questions of our time. One answer is to talk. When we have conversations with others, we counteract the biases we have and learn from one another. If we will do this on a large scale, we can reverse a bias and replace it with relevant truth. And if this is done perpetually by many persons across the planet, a new inertia can emerge, which will be equally strong and far more effective. Visit www.loveshift.com/normalcybias.html to learn more. Love Shift. Working together, we can make a difference. P.S. For those who like to read and want to begin their own personal transformation, the recent book by Martin and Dorothy Hellman, A New Map for Relationships, is highly recommended. It's available on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble right now.